this isn't for everybody, but I think it is an important one. So this is, if you're a homeowner and you're in a bad spot, you need to sell your house, you're facing some kind of deadline, or maybe you have two mortgages, you're relocated, something like that, and you just need to dump the house, and get rid of it, right? So you don't have time to have that house sit on the market for 6 months, 8 months, 12 months, etc. Just paying those bills, having those holding costs, everything else that goes into it. It could also be for the investor, right? So if you have an investor with a really hot deal that you're looking to get into and you really need to dump your house, or if you're really, you have a deal that you kind of losing money on at that point, and you have a lot of interest payments and stuff like that going into it, you need to get rid of that house, etc. Whatever it happens to be. I mean, there's many situations why people need to sell their house as quickly as possible. Sometimes it's just that they want to do that. Sometimes that it's absolutely necessary that they do that, or they're going to lose the house anyways, or they're going to be broke, whatever it happens to be. So I think the one important thing here, and again, this isn't right for everybody, but it is something to think about. Go out there and get some, cash offers from cash home buying companies. So essentially, there are companies out there, and not everyone even knows this, but there are companies like CESA. There's plenty of other reputable companies as well, depending on what city, what state you're in, what market you're in. But they will pay you cash for your house. And the nice thing about that too is that they will close absolutely as quick as they possibly can. So that's usually a couple weeks, maybe a little bit quicker, maybe a little bit longer, depending on the situation. But I mean, they have the ability to close quickly, right? So if you're facing a deadline, maybe that's your only option. The other nice thing about these companies is that if your house is, needs a lot of repairs, right? So if we were talking about before with like doing stuff to make the house stand out, adding those nice features, things like that. I mean, if the house is like, if it's vacant, or if it's, in really disrepair, it has a lot of capex and maintenance stuff that's kind of, it hasn't been addressed for years, and it's really in a bad spot. And that's not something that you're going to get a traditional buyer with a mortgage to purchase. That's something that you really need a cash buyer, because that's the only one that's going to qualify to buy that house. So there are certain situations. So if you absolutely need to sell it as quickly as possible, that's number one. And if you absolutely, can't sell it to a traditional buyer, you have to sell it for cash. That's number two. And then number three, there's different situations out there, but at certain times you just don't want to deal with having the house sit on the market for months or years, right? You don't want to deal with, maybe you don't want to deal with an agent, maybe you don't want to deal with people come through your house, etc. You just want to dump that thing as quickly and as easy as possible, and these cash buying companies will offer you that. So obviously you're going to get a little bit lower of a price, or a lot lower of a price, depending on the house, depending on the situation, and depending on what cash buyer it is. But they are going to offer you a very quick way to get rid of that house, and they're going to allow you to do it without making any repairs, 100% as is, etc. So I mean, that is an option. If that's an option for you, you can certainly contact us. Check us out at webuyhomescle.com. If you're in a different market than Cleveland, certainly, plenty of companies out there. Even if you want to give us a shout, and we could help you, find one if we know people in that market. There's a lot of good companies. There's a lot of bad companies too. So be careful who you're talking to. That is one piece of advice I will give you. But certainly, if that is your only option, it definitely one to be looking for, as it can help you kind of, get over that hump, get it past you, sell the house, get on with your life, etc., and just kind of move forward with it.